Liz Knits, Her Way Through New Zealand, a heartwarming travel story. The Creative Globe presents. Across continents and cultures, creativity takes countless forms. Each story follows a new artisan, maker, or dreamer exploring the world in search of inspiration, mastery, and meaning. This is The Creative Globe. The Knitting Series, Book 2, Liz Knits, Her Way Through New Zealand, a heartwarming travel story. Chapter 1, Arrival in Auckland. Liz pressed her forehead to the airplane window as the long-haul flight descended through layers of warm, golden clouds. Back home in Minnesota, winter still clung to the streets, and the spring thaw felt weeks away, but New Zealand greeted her with late summer warmth and the soft beginning of autumn. Before boarding, Liz had worried that security might confiscate her knitting needles. 18 hours without knitting was unthinkable. But the agent barely glanced at her bag, and she walked onto the aircraft with great relief. Her small lace scarf project kept her hands busy through movies, meals, and long stretches of quiet sky. Auckland felt bright and welcoming the moment she stepped outside. During the 40-minute ride into the city, Liz watched sailboats glinting in the marina and people strolling along the waterfront. But exhaustion tugged at her. After checking into her hotel, she ate a simple dinner, slipped between crisp sheets, and drifted into a deep, dreamless sleep. Chapter 2, Sunrise at the Domain. Liz had chosen a hotel right along the harbour so she could walk to the farmer's market, tiny cafes, and the knitting shops she had mapped out before the trip. Jet lag woke her at 4 a.m. Wide awake and buzzing with new country excitement, she remembered a recommendation from a fellow knitter. If you can't sleep, go watch the sunrise from the top of One Tree Hill. She ordered a car. Her driver, a Māori man with a warm voice, spoke to her about the land, about Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud, and how his people saw mountains as ancestors and rivers as living vessels of memory. Liz listened, fascinated. It was her first glimpse of the country's depth and generosity. When the car reached the top of the park, she hesitated. The sky was still dark. "Go sit just beyond that big tree," he said gently. "Watch the sun rise in peace." Liz followed his advice. She sat on the cool grass beneath the sprawling branches of a pohutukawa tree. The horizon shifted slowly from deep blue to soft rose. Then, as if on cue, the sun lifted above the harbour, washing the city in gold. It felt like a blessing, a perfect welcome to Aotearoa, the Māori name for New Zealand, meaning land of the long white cloud. Chapter 3, The Yarns of Auckland. Her first full day in Auckland unfolded like a journey designed just for her. The first shop she visited, the Harbour Loop Wool Studio, was tucked between a bakery and a tiny bookstore. Inside, shelves overflowed with colour. The owner, Maya, introduced her to New Zealand Corriedale wool, smooth, durable, and luminous.
Corriedale is perfect for colour work,
Maya explained.
A little shine, a little strength, it holds its shape beautifully.
Maya handed her a pattern inspired by the waves of the Southern Alps. Liz's second stop was Tui and Fern Fibres, a shop that felt like a forest sanctuary. Dried eucalyptus hung from the beams. Yarns in soft natural tones lined the walls. The owner, Alana, showed her something new, a merino and possum blend, light as air and warmer than cashmere.
"It's special to New Zealand,"
she said.
"Soft, warm, sustainable."
Alana taught Liz a technique called drifting lace, where lace motifs slowly shift across the fabric like moving clouds. Liz fell instantly in love with a deep forest green skein and asked to have it wound. Alana checked her needle size and encouraged her to cast on that very evening. By the time Liz walked back to her hotel, her bag was full of yarns, patterns, and inspiration. Chapter 4: Hobbiton, Thermal Pools, and Māori Traditions. She rented a car the next morning and drove through rolling farmland to Hobbiton. The site looked exactly as it did in the films: round doors, small gardens, stone paths, and hills that seemed to breathe with story. But what surprised her most were the knits, cloaks, shawls, and wraps inspired by elvish lore and Celtic tradition. She studied the stitches closely: cablework that mimicked tree branches, lace panels shaped like falling leaves, colourwork evoking old myths. She bought a book of Hobbiton patterns on the spot, her next stop, Rotorua, famously acclaimed for its mineral-rich thermal pools. She checked into her hotel and immediately succumbed to a delicious soak. It was the hotel concierge who suggested the evening meal in a Māori cultural centre. She was oblivious to the drama she would encounter there. Seated alone in the centre of the first row, she awaited the presentation. It didn't take long for her to recognize some of the most fearful men with seriously mean grimaces staring threateningly directly at her. They stomped their feet and made dreadful faces at her. Did I do something wrong? She thought. She was visibly shaking when a kindly woman approached her and explained gently, "This is the haka. It is a traditional dance to the Māori in it. They convey pride and cultural strength, and also to prepare for battle, is also used to welcome guests to their country and customs." It was so frightening. Liz trailed off. "Well, you now know the Māori custom of the haka. I see you have your knitting bag with you. If you're interested, we can show you some of our crafts. Have you ever experienced the weaving of harakeke? It is the New Zealand flax made into traditional apparel. It took less than a heartbeat for Liz to accept the invitation. She listened, absorbed, and learned. Creativity here was not a hobby. It was heritage. The next morning, Liz was glad she booked an extra day to relax and further explore Rotorua and the natural splendour of the area. She started her relaxing day with a wonderful cup of tea, looking out at the lake with her knitting. Later, she thought she might explore the delicious food options in town, but for now, it was about relaxing and creating. Chapter 5: Christchurch Blooms. The next morning, Liz flew south to Christchurch. Her hotel overlooked the expansive botanical gardens, where late summer flowers still bloomed in bright yellows and reds. She walked through tree-lined paths and eventually settled in the rose garden to enjoy the morning stillness. The day felt unhurried, peaceful. She pulled out her knitting and enjoyed the birds chirping in the trees and the rustle of the leaves. After a magical hour, she walked the few blocks over to the downtown area to search out her next knitting shop, Knit Canterbury. Inside Knit Canterbury, Liz felt as though she had stepped into a living watercolour painting. The yarns were arranged by hue: soft South Island blues, riverstone greys, flax greens, and the delicate dusty pinks of the Canterbury plains at dusk. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, catching on the hand-dyed skeins and making them glow like stained glass. A woman with silver-streaked hair and warm eyes emerged from behind the counter. "Welcome, traveller," she said. "I'm Mara. I can always spot someone seeing these colours for the first time." Liz smiled. "They're beautiful. They look like the countryside outside?" Mara nodded. "That's no accident. Most of these are dyed right here in Canterbury. We use mineral pigments from the plains and riverbeds. The greys come from ground river stones. The pale blues? From local lupin petals mixed with a touch of ash." She picked up a skein that shifted subtly between grey and faint lavender. "And this one? We call it nor'wester sky. It captures our famous Canterbury winds. When a nor'wester blows in, the clouds streak across the sky in long wisps. That colourway is meant to mimic that motion. Liz held the skein to the light, enchanted. The fibres almost shimmered. It's stunning. Mara leaned closer, lowering her voice as though sharing a secret. What makes these skeins special isn't just the colour. The dyer, Hana, blends two different sheep breeds, Corriedale from inland farms and half-bred wool from closer to the foothills. The fibres take colour in different ways, so you get depth you wouldn't normally see. One fibre absorbs dye deeply, the other stays a little lighter. It creates a natural gradient. Liz's fingers traced the softness. I've never seen anything like this. You won't outside of this region, Mara said proudly. It's a Canterbury signature. She motioned for Liz to follow her to a small display near the back of the shop. These, she said, lifting a folded swatch, are examples of the Canterbury cross twist, a local knitting technique. Liz bent closer. The pattern was a rhythmic hybrid between cabling and twisted stitches, forming delicate crosshatch shapes like woven flax. It looks complicated, Liz said. Oh, it's much simpler than it looks, Mara assured her. It's inspired by raranga, traditional Māori flax weaving patterns. Canterbury knitters began adapting the crisscross structure into their work decades ago. It creates strength and elasticity, perfect for socks or mitts. Some say the technique works best with our local wool because the fibres twist together more clearly. She handed Liz a pair of fingerless mitts made from the nor'wester yarn. See how the colours ripple through the twists? It almost looks like the wind itself is moving through the fabric. Liz slid a finger into one of the mitts. The texture was unique, almost springy. Would you like the pattern? Mara asked. It's one of our most beloved local designs. Yes, Liz said immediately. And I'd love the yarn you used for these. Mara grinned. I thought you might. She gathered two skeins of the nor'wester colourway, laid the pattern beside them, and pulled out a swift and ball winder. These will knit beautifully on a 3.5mm needle, and if you start tonight, you'll be halfway finished before you even leave Christchurch. Liz laughed. You know me too well. That's the magic of knitters, Mara said knowingly as the yarn spun into neat cakes. We recognise our own. As Liz packed her new treasures into her bag, pattern, yarn cakes, and a little envelope of stitch markers Mara insisted she take, she felt the same warm belonging she'd felt all over New Zealand. Every knitting shop seemed to offer not just supplies, but connection. And this one, with its wind-dyed wool and woven-inspired stitches, felt especially meaningful. Liz left Knit Canterbury with her bag full of new treasures and her mind buzzing with everything she'd learned. Hana's mineral dyes, the blended Corriedale half-bred fibres, the way the Canterbury cross-twist mirrored ancient flax weaving. From the shop, she wandered back toward the Christchurch Botanic Gardens, sunlight slanting through towering oaks and native kahikatea trees. She found a small cafe tucked into a corner of the garden and ordered a glass of champagne. Sitting beneath a wide umbrella, she watched locals walk their dogs, children chase ducks, and couples take slow, easy afternoon strolls. Her new yarn sat on the table in front of her, glowing in the soft light. Liz couldn't resist. She cast on a few stitches of the cross-twist pattern, feeling the resilient, textured wool bloom between her fingers. The rest of the day unfolded gently. An hour of knitting in the garden's dappled shade, a simple dinner at a cosy bistro, and a quiet walk back to her hotel with the scent of late summer flowers lingering in the air. Tomorrow, she thought, would bring a different kind of beauty entirely. Tomorrow, she would meet the sheep.